Hey everyone, I'm excited to tell you that I passed a huge milestone this past week on the VW bus restoration. I now have a complete painted car. It's not buffed yet, so it's not as shiny as it should be, but I wet sanded a few test areas and it's looking very promising. In addition to the paint, I also took advantage of the good weather we've had to do more undercarriage coatings using that Raptor truck bed product, so check it out. All right, a quick update here on prep of the body. We're just about ready to paint. I'm probably going to be doing it in a couple days on Sunday, but everything's masked pretty much. Got the whole roof, if I can get that shot there, got the whole roof masked even. And I went ahead, everything, like I said, has been sanded to 400 grit and then with some steel wool. But I went ahead and sanded this back down to 400 grit, the top, even though I shot it before, just because there's so much overspray and orange peel on it. I did a test area where I wet sanded it with 1000 grit and it looked good. So there's no doubt that I could have dealt with all that overspray and orange peel. But you know what, half an hour sanding to get back to 400 grit and then steel wool, and I'll reshoot it. I think that'll save me some time in the long run. I mean, if I end up shooting it exactly the same, then, you know, I'm just in the same boat and I just wasted half an hour. So I figured I'd risk that and see if I can get it better, because ultimately, if I can shoot it better with less orange peel and overspray, it was probably that half an hour, I'll save that in buffing and sanding and all that. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and reshoot all of this. The only thing I have to do now is finish masking these little areas of the doors, but I left it a little bit open just in case I needed it. And just to get in there, you can kind of see that, you know, the roof and everything is masked, and we are ready to go. So on Sunday, I believe, is when I'm going to shoot it. So all I have to do is solvent prep, tack cloth it, and I'll shoot everything all again. And I can't wait to be done with this. I can't wait to show you guys this. Here we are, a painted car. It's I'm only half excited about it just because there's so much orange peel that yeah, it's gonna require a fair amount of color sanding and buffing. And so my bet that restripping this down and shooting it again would result, well, yeah, I guess it actually looks a little bit better. So I guess I'm glad I did that. I think it was worth the extra half an hour. So reshot the roof, and of course everything's reshot. And of course, you know, I masked everything so that the interior didn't get any overspray on it. You know, even including these little things here. So I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, obviously, I could see where the areas that I just kind of gave up on the body work. You know, obviously that didn't cover up very well. Like here, I just gave up. I'm like, nah, that's all I'm gonna do. But I think it's gonna turn out good. The coverage is much better. It's very even. Again, I used that 1.3 gun, and you know, I really thought, why don't I just use that 1.7? Because that 1.7 has so much fluid coming out that would prevent orange peel. But you know, all the research I've done, they're like, no. You want to go with that finer tip. You definitely want to go with a finer tip. So I don't know. And what's weird is when I first laid out the first coat on this, and actually it's not even that bad. I think that 1500 and 2000, a little bit of sanding and then some buffing, I think we'll be okay. I'm going to do another video and I'm probably going to start tomorrow because I have off on Monday, tomorrow being Monday. Today's Sunday. I'm gonna do some color sanding and buffing on that. And give a rundown, you know, once I know what works, and give a rundown of what works. Because right now I've got a buffer and a DA and some 1500 grit for the DA and some heavy cut Meguiar's for the buffer, but I don't have any, you know, finishing like swirl remover or anything like that. So I'll do some practicing on it, and then I'll kind of send, once I know what works, I'll go over that, and so that, you know, other people can hopefully, you know, benefit from that. But yeah, so I did this on Saturday morning, and the heaters kept up the temperature in my booth for 8 hours, but we were in the mid 60s, so I didn't have to like run these for too long. But now I've got to get set up in here because I've still got to do the doors. I have not gotten to the doors, so I'm gonna reset this up. It shouldn't be raining at all the next couple days, so I think it's okay to have the bus out. Of course, I actually have the top completely covered as well. So in terms of the painting, because I didn't get any shots of it, obviously, you know, again, I used my 1.3 HTE gun. I used the Tamco Volkswagen R902 gray white, Arctic white, or whatever, how many names it has. The medium hardener at 75 degrees ish, and kept, yeah, again, I kept it at least above 70 degrees for 8 hours, if not more. And then their medium urethane reducer, just a little bit of that in there. In terms of coverage, I kill 1 gallon, a 1 gallon kit, and then probably, this is mostly full, so I think I did probably 1 cup or 20 ounces out of this. Well, 4 to 1, I don't, yeah, 16 ounces, let's say, out of this. So I'm into this can about 16 ounces. So if you're looking to do your Volkswagen, you could probably do a 1 gallon kit and do everything. Because again, I painted the floor and the interior and all that stuff. So that gives you an idea that it's possible you can paint the entire car with a 1 gallon kit, inside and out. I'm 16 ounces into this, but I still got to do the outside of the doors. So that's going to be another maybe 16 ounces, maybe not even that much. So so maybe a gallon plus a quart, maybe I could have done it. But I like to have extra because I'm probably going to do, well, I still got to do the wheels, I got to do the bumpers, I got to do those trim pieces, I've got that hatch lid. You know, there's maybe the blackout windows that I'll do next year, I'm going to shoot those, which are, what I mean by that is I might black out some of the windows, meaning cutting aluminum pieces instead of the glass windows, and painting them the same body color. So there's a bunch of other things. I'll probably end up using half of this, but it's good to have extra, you know, if I want to use it for something else. Well, we're almost set up in here. I've got the doors on my little wall studs. I've got my sanding stuff out. Again, I'm behind on the doors because I haven't sanded the outside of the doors down to 400 in order to paint them yet. I thought I did, but I didn't. These trim pieces, I haven't looked at these in probably a year, but luckily I pour 15 the inside. You can see it's a lot of pitted rust. So I sandblasted them, pour 15 the insides, and then I prime the outsides, and then I haven't looked at them for like a year. But lucky for me, they look like they're in good shape. So a little bit of finish sanding, and they're ready to shoot too, along with everything else. So I just gotta wait till I gotta sand and get that temperature up a little bit more, maybe another 5 degrees, and should be able to start shooting these today and get that done with. Alrighty, well, it's been an hour or so, and these things are drying and looking good. I mean, I gotta admit, I have given up on this whole, how do I not spray with orange peel? That's just not in the cards for me. I've done a lot of research, I've given you some tips, but none of those tips have helped me really. And so orange peel is just going to be part of this. But what I've been doing is, with that gun, is spraying very consistent coats And so I'm happy about that. That's good enough, right? I'm not gonna be able to not do orange peel. You can see there's quite a bit. But as long as that gun sprays consistent, good coats, then I don't think the orange peel will be an issue, because as long as the coat is consistent, I can wet sand it without having to worry about, you know, certain places maybe wet sanding it too far, or, you know, whatever. With a nice consistent coat, I can, as long as I consistently wet sand it and buff it, then I should be able to get it down very consistently to a nice, smooth, glossy finish. All right, guys, well, the van is back in the garage. You notice I got the doors on it, at least the front doors on it, and the back hatch. And I'm starting a few things that I'll share with you right now. First, my prep table is all different now. So we've got the paint now kind of behind me for the moment, and we're moving on to the next things I'll do. You'll notice I have the Raptor stuff in one of my previous videos where I did the Raptor truck bed lining in the cargo floors. I had from that, I think I had a 4-bottle kit, and I had one leftover bottle that I didn't use, and I also bought an additional one just in case I needed more, and it came with some extra hardener. So, and of course I kept the Schutz gun, and I you know, cleaned it all out. So I'm still have all that set up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jack up the van, take the front wheels off, and clean all up the wheel wells, and I'm going to shoot the Raptor truck bed lining in the wheel wells, being careful to mask off, you know, obviously the brakes and the shock towers and all that stuff. I just want to get this inside the fender wells, and where they rust a lot. My idea is I have one for the front and one for the back, but if I probably will have a lot of additional product, because you saw how much, you know, one bottle covered even on the cargo floors. I could still do, like, you know, behind the inside of the sideboards, behind the inside of maybe the dog legs. I mean, anywhere where it's really prone to rust, underneath the car, I could prep and shoot this. Well, I'm kind of all over the place here, just trying to get the finished coatings done this week, because after this week there's no possibility to paint. The weather's going to be way too cold. So I've been trying to do some color sanding and buffing, and you can see this is getting nice and shiny. Or maybe you can't, I don't know. It's getting a little shiny, but it still needs more color sand and buffing. Nothing I could film was coming out right, so I'll try again this weekend and just do a separate video, hopefully show you everything that's been done. But what you can see here is I've masked off the wheel well, and I thought, well, I'm just going to go ahead and do that last bit of coating, which is the Raptor truck bed coating, and I'm going to start at the front, and I've got both sides, you know, protected, wrapped around here, and I'm going to basically do these really problem areas. I mean, if you recall some of my other videos, all this stuff was rotted out and had to be re-welded. We port 15'd that, and you know, even the seatbelt mounts up there, I need to clean those up, port 15 them, but then go over all this with a Raptor truck bed lining, all the fender areas, even you can't see it behind this masking, but this is the lower dog leg. This whole thing was rotted out, and I had to replace this. It was rotted out, I believe, from the inside here, as well as the step. This is the bottom of that step that was all rotted out. Remember, that was Swiss cheese. I had to re-weld that. So I figured I'll just do all underneath here as well with the Raptor coating, and hopefully prevent that all from rusting again. As well, I masked this lower end here, and I figured, I don't know if I've got enough light under here to film this, but I figured I can also, these are also problem areas, which I didn't have on this car. This car, everything was solid, but I figured I might as well do Raptor bed lining all in here on the outer cargo floors, and the cross members and the outriggers, and maybe even on the outside of this main beam here. Well, I got done shooting one bottle of this on the front, and I used the entire bottle, and I'll show you what I got. I actually got quite a bit out of it. I took some of the masking off down in here just to show you. I left some of this masking on. So notice that the masking like ended right there and kind of went around this area. What I could do to blend that better is just kind of put a little bit of that black top coat on there, just spray paint some black top coat. But I don't really care too much. Once the tire's on, you won't notice. The main thing is making sure that the areas that I had to repair, which was this, all this was Swiss cheese rusted out because of the tire slinging stuff and it's sticking right here. So that's the main part that I repaired that I wanted to get coated. And the other thing was, again, under the step here, I wanted to get back here. And also just up and around, anything where the tire just slings junk, you know, that's kind of what I wanted to get well protected and coated. And you can see I also got on the front part of the beam as well. But then the bonus was I had plenty of product, because it does go quite a long way. And I did from the back out, that side of the back outrigger, you know, all the framing members, and then the outside of the main beam is all coated. Including, if I can move my light here, including both sides of that outrigger. And of course the floor that I had to replace, that was, you know, really where the rot started here. A little overspray got on the outside of the outrigger. Guess what I could do? I could just, again, just paint that black, just put a little spray paint on that and make it look nice from the outside. Same thing on the back one. And luckily I didn't get any overspray on the car. You know, going about 10 inches up was fine. I had this fan running to kind of, because, you know, all the overspray, it's under the car, so there's no, you know, fumes, or the fumes are under the car. So I had this fan just running to push it back toward my vent wall there. Of course, I'm wearing goggles, my mask, my Tyvek suit, and yeah, so the other side looks about the same. I don't have the lighting here, but you get the idea. Outrigger and everything from the front beam all the way back. And so yeah, should prevent any rust forming on the bottom here, and all those pieces, you know, that here that had all that rust that we had to replace. I should never have to do that again. All right, well, I got the rear coated with the Raptor truck bed, and it's been a couple hours, so it's mostly cured. Let's see. Not my best job, but it doesn't have to be too cosmetic. So I got all up under there, and especially up under that area there, the back of the outrigger. You know, we had a lot of rust right here, so behind that. We also had quite a bit of rust in the corners, and the corners, the corner and the battery tray were replaced. So obviously these at one point rusted out, and then of course they start at the bottom. So what I went and did is I got all up in there underneath that battery tray and inside that fender well there, and that's on both sides. So plus I noticed that there was quite a bit of missing port 15 underneath there, so I cleaned up under the center, right in front of the axle there. So I cleaned that up while I was under there, and so that took an extra day because I had to let the port 15 cure in areas that I touched up. All right, well, so we got the back wheels on and we're ready to roll. I'll consider that the undercarriage coating's done for now, and I'm going to move on to my final thing that I wanted to try to get done in this video, apart from the painting, and that is the only last little piece is this post-painting rust prevention is the cavity wax. And this is SEM's product right here. And it's probably completely useless to just buy this without buying the extra wand. This is the 24-inch wand here. And so basically what you're going to do is just take off the cap, put this one on, and then this gives you 2 feet, and this little tip here will shoot the wax all around in like a forward and all around. So the way it's going to work, and I'm not going to really film this because I mean you guys kind of get it. But what I'm going to do is starting at the top here. So up in there, I'll put it in that way as far as I can, and then I'll spray it and pull it out. So as you spray it in pull, it'll just coat what's inside there. Then I stick the tube as far as I can in this way from in that light hole opening there, and then again spray, pull. And then what we could do from the back is there's that hole there on both sides. Again, feed that tube in as far as you can go and pull it as you spray it. So mainly just getting up into that cavity there. I didn't have any rust in this particular car there, but that tends to rust out because that's, on the outside of that is the gutter. And so that can rust out. And then the main part is in the sides here. And so we've got one access hole on the driver's side. You've seen that I repaired. So again, put the tube as far as I can in there, spray and pull, and I'll try to find a way to get in from the back side. I think there might be a hole up in there. I'll try to figure that out. I may have plugged it. But that kind of gets that rocker area. That can all rust out. Of course, I've coated the inner rocker all the way, you saw that with the from the outside. So getting the inside will ensure that doesn't rust out again. And then on the passenger side, where the sliding door is, that's a little more complicated. Hopefully yours is like this, but we tried to keep it about the same. I mean, we replaced this whole panel here. We tried to keep it about the same as stock, where you have 3 holes, 1, 2, and then 3, and each of those would be one's inside the rocker panel and one's like inside underneath the sliding door thing. So yeah, same thing, just try to get in all 3 of those holes and get as much wax cavity stuff that you can. So once I do that, that's pretty much it. So this weekend, I'm pretty much set. You could see, like I said, I started doing this. It started to shine up, but I just got to do all the rest, and I got to do the top and everything like that. So this weekend, I will work on the wet sanding and buffing and try to get some semblance of a process put together. You can see I even did a little bit on the front, which is looking really shiny and cool. But I'll try to put my process right now is haphazard. I'm just kind of trying things out and doing things, and but I'll try to put something together this weekend into its own video on how to, at least how I'm doing the color sanding and buffing of a single stage paint to get it from, real orange peel to a nice shiny finish. So that video's coming, and I appreciate you guys sticking around and watching, and we'll see you on the next one.